I got an exciting game review for you. It's all about Shatterline. This first-person shooter was launched on Steam in 2022, and it's free to play. We've got a lot to cover, so let's dive right on in. First off, Shatterline offers 3 distinctive game modes to keep you hooked: PvP, co-op story missions, and a thrilling roguelike expedition mode. In PvP, you'll find various game modes from team deathmatch to elimination, conquest, domination, and escort. My favorite mode was probably the escort mode, which is rare. Generally, I don't enjoy escort modes, but it was pretty fun in this game. The gameplay itself is satisfying, but there's a kicker. It's somewhat unbalanced due to character progression, blueprints, and weapon levels. You see, there's no item leveling, and players who have unlocked blueprints for their weapons have a significant advantage in combat. This makes the gameplay feel unbalanced and unrewarding at times. Different characters with unique abilities also contribute to this imbalance, especially the one that provides wall hacks, which reveals enemy positions through the walls. It does this by highlighting the enemy team in a red outline. In my day, this was known as wall hack, and it would get you banned from Counter-Strike. This ability feels super frustrating when you run around a corner just to be sniped in the face because the enemy team could see you coming from a mile away. The lack of balance in PvP gameplay can be discouraging, especially for newcomers, but there is hope for improvement. Perhaps if they implemented an MMR system or a mode where blueprints aren't used, could really help level the playing field. Right now, the blueprints are a real pain to unlock. It took me easily 6-7 hours of gameplay just to unlock one blueprint, and those blueprints are randomly assigned to you through a crafting system, and you have no control over what gun that blueprint is going to be for. I got mine on a shotgun that I never use, so that didn't really help me that much. If they remove blueprints from the PvP mode, or at least made a separate game mode where blueprints aren't utilized, I think that could really help level the playing field for new players. Now let's talk about the co-op story missions. These missions don't offer a traditional story campaign. Instead, you have missions available on a schedule. Personally, I'm not a fan of this system. I believe players should have more freedom to choose their missions. Found that there were times that I wanted to play the PvE mode, but I only had 3 missions available to play due to the time restriction, and I didn't feel like grinding those same missions over and over again. However, once you get into a mission, it's a lot of fun. The graphics are smooth and stylized, the gunplay is responsive, and the level design is spot on. The level design for each mission is varied and well designed, ranging from scenes like an Italian coastal town to a mountain forest area to a desolate desert and snow-covered landscape. They really did a good job on creating a multitude of environments to play through. They absolutely nailed the level design, even if it is pretty linear for the most part in the co-op missions. One interesting mechanic that they had in the game that I enjoyed interacting with was the ability to push around objects like boxes and cars. These will be identified by having a blue outline around them. You can walk up to these and interact with them by kicking them and pushing them. You can utilize these to your advantage by using them as cover down a long, narrow corridor to protect you from enemy fire, or to simply get on top of a platform that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to. I've not seen this mechanic in many other first-person shooter games, so this was a fun little touch. But beware, the enemies in this mode are no pushovers. Shatterline demands a more tactical approach compared to other first-person shooter games. Just a few shots from enemies because you decided you're going to run and gun will end up with you waiting for a revive. Most games in this genre afford you the ability to take a lot of damage from enemies before being knocked. However, that is not the case in Shatterline. 1 or 2 shots is all it takes in some cases to down you. Now, I quite like this as it makes you play a lot slower and think more tactfully on how you want to approach any given situation. So don't expect that you're just going to be running and gunning the whole time. You're going to have to take cover and think about your next step. One standout feature of the PvE mode is the boss fights. Each boss has unique mechanics, making every encounter a memorable experience. These mechanics add depth and excitement to the game. Yes, you heard that right. Every boss in this game has unique mechanics, unlike any other first-person shooter besides possibly Destiny that I've played. One boss has orbiting death lasers that must be avoided as you're trying to get on floating objects to shoot out vents, all while being attacked by some maniac with a heavy machine gun. And another is a sentient mega robot that must have its floating shield shot down to make it vulnerable, all while you're moving and dodging laser gates that are moving down the arena. A third is a ghostly floating monstrosity that spawns endless waves of NPCs, all while creating purple lightning storms across the arena that will one-shot you. These aren't the only boss fights in the game, and they're not the only boss mechanics, but those are just 3 to give you an idea of what the game has to offer. The boss mechanics and fights are by far the most memorable feature this game has to offer. One of their newest game modes is a roguelite, which is an absolute blast. It's different from the co-op story missions, offering a randomized map where you start with just a handgun and a melee weapon. You'll scavenge for weapons and perks, all while completing various activities on the map. This mode shines with its open world approach and unique events, plus the sense of progression and roguelike elements keep you engaged. You can extract and keep your acquired gear or risk losing it all. It's a thrilling addition to the game. Just like in the PvE co-op story mission modes, you also are going to have boss encounters that you can take on. These as well have have their own unique mechanics. Again, another great highlight of the PvE modes that Shatterline has to offer. Now you may be asking, what kind of activities can I expect from this roguelike mode? A lot of the activities need to be triggered or activated by using salt, which you can collect throughout the map. You'll be using an analyzer gun to survey the local area to find objectives and to find these salt deposits. Once you have these salt deposits, you can call in supply drops or pick up bounty missions from these devices called mules, which you can find on the map. You walk up to a mule and you pick whether you want to call in a supply drop or pick up a random bounty. The random bounty will give you tasks to complete during your run. Upon completing these tasks, you'll be rewarded. Additionally, there's other objectives like activating uplinks, surviving hordes, finding treasure rooms, and of course, the boss fights. Now you'll want to stick with your team because this is a punishing game mode, just like the regular co-op PvE missions. You will get killed if you go adventuring on your own. If you and your whole party are wiped in this game mode, you will lose all your progression, hence the roguelike aspect. However, if you decide to extract after a little while, you will keep all the guns you collected on that run and have them at your disposal via a canister at the beginning of your next run. I really like the open world nature, the event designs, and the sense of progression that this mode has to offer, and it's easily my favorite mode available in the game. This mode shines with its open world approach and unique events, plus the sense of progression and roguelike elements keep you engaged. You can extract to keep your acquired gear or risk losing it all. It's a thrilling addition to the game. Now that we've learned about the game modes, let's take a look at the different characters that are going to be available to you. You can also customize their abilities and cosmetics, earning free cosmetics through daily and weekly quests. I found that the cosmetic system in this game was pretty fair. I am a big fan of playing dress up Barbie in these games, and I was able to unlock some pretty cool cosmetics just by completing these various quests and activities. You want to experiment with the different heroes and find which one suits your gameplay style the best. Shatterline boasts 8 unique heroes, each with different abilities, some offering weapons like a one-shot pistol or a laser rifle, while others allow for wall hacking, instant revives, or powerful slam attacks that make you feel like Superman for a few seconds. However, the game isn't without its flaws. I experienced multiple crashes that prevented me from exiting the game or accessing my task manager. Lucky for me, I was live streaming and another streamer from the game jumped into my chat and told me how to move my task manager to another monitor using some key presses and the arrow keys. If it wasn't for this, I would have had to just reboot my whole system because it locked up my interface. He went on to tell me that the game crashes like this a lot. Both myself and my buddy I was playing with experienced this on more than one occasion. However, when the game wasn't crashing, the frame rate and performance was perfect. As is tradition, let's wrap it up with a brief pros and cons list. Pros: beautiful graphics, immersive world design, fantastic boss encounters, challenging PvE gameplay, a really enjoyable roguelike mode, decent character and weapon progression system, a diverse character lineup giving you 8 characters to play with and try out, and of course, it's free to play. On the flip side, there are some cons. PvP is extremely imbalanced due to the weapon progression system and the blueprints. Now, while I like a good weapon progression system, this one feels pretty slow, especially since they're vital in the PvP mode, and the blueprint system gives an unfair advantage. Plus, those frequent game crashes can be a real buzzkill. So here are my final thoughts on Shatterline in 2023. It's a great free-to-play PvE first-person shooter with its engaging boss mechanics and thrilling roguelike mode. If you're looking for an immersive PvE experience, it's worth a shot. However, if you're seeking a balanced player versus player first-person shooter, you might want to wait for some fundamental changes to matchmaking and the blueprint system. Thanks for tuning into this review. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more game reviews and updates. See ya.